Hey friends, welcome to the Well Aligned podcast. This podcast is for women seeking to work within their soul aligned purpose. If you're no longer feeling inspired by your career and are receiving the nudges that there is something more, then this podcast is for you. We interview women who have done just that, have made the transition into a career that lights them up. I'm your host, Sandy, and I've made many career transitions in my life. So I'm excited that you're here. Let's get started with the episode. Welcome back to another episode of the Well Aligned podcast. Today, my guest is Shawnti Refuge. Shawnti is a certified mental health coach, mental health advocate, keynote speaker, and author. She speaks about the importance of taking care of our mental health in business and our community. Now, Shawnti has a really cool story about how she fell into guided journaling, how she turned that basically into a business, which also catapulted her into life coaching and, like I said, being a keynote speaker and an author. She initially had it as a side hustle. It was a part-time gig, and it's now blossomed into something full-time for Shawnti. And she'll walk us through what guided journaling actually means. And it's also something, if you are a coach, if you're a life coach, this could be a really good piece to add into your existing business. She also talks about how if you're in a current situation, in a work situation that's not ideal, how to reframe that. Reframe that as your profit center. Reframe it as your educational journey. And she gives some really great tips about marketing too. So one that I really like is about going live on Instagram and talking as if you're speaking to an audience of 1 million people. Even if it's just a handful of people who are watching you, speak as if you're talking to millions of people. She also has another really great marketing tip that I'm going to encourage you to listen to the episode for, something that I am going to incorporate into my business and my networking moving forward. So I hope you enjoy the episode. All right. Well, welcome to another episode of the Well Aligned podcast. Thank you so much, Shawnti, for being here today.
Thank you, Sandy, for having me.
So I would love it if you could just introduce yourself and give us an idea of who you are and what you currently do.
Sure. I am Shawnti Refuge. I am a certified mental health coach, mental health advocate, keynote speaker, and author. And I help women to release, heal, and live their best lives with guided journaling.
Well, we all need that. We all need that healing, and healing through journaling is definitely something that's needed. And you have a really amazing story. So I would love it if you could share with the audience your story, how you came to be where you are today.
Okay, well, I always have to say, I never intended on this being my business at all. I had a nervous breakdown in 2018. And at the time, I didn't know that's what I was having. I just knew that I was, going berserk and I couldn't control my emotions. I was crying, screaming, hollering, cussing. I was doing all of that. And I couldn't turn it off. And as the days went by, it got worse and worse. And I'm thinking, I'm just in a funk, it'll pass. It did not pass. It got worse to where I was getting on my family's nerves pretty much. And so I want to say a month into it, I was like, okay, this ain't letting up. Let me go and see what's wrong. So I didn't know where to go. I went to my family practice doctor. And I told her what was happening. And she was like, oh, you're just a little depressed. Let me give you these antidepressants. And I said, okay, I don't want that, but, I'll trust you and I'll take it. And I did it. She said, come back in 6 weeks. So 6 weeks, those antidepressants did not work. I was getting worse and worse and worse. And so when I went back after 6 weeks and told her, she was like, oh, let me give you a higher dose. And I'm like, I don't want this. Why do you keep giving me this? I want to know why I'm acting like this. So she was like, okay, well, let me send you to a psychiatrist. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with you, but let's go see a psychiatrist. First of all, black people don't go see psychiatrists. That's one thing. I have never known anybody who looked like me that says, "Oh yes, I have a psychiatrist." I was very apprehensive, but at the same time, I was like, "Okay, either you going to jail or you go see a psychiatrist," because I can see my behavior starting to go from verbally aggressive to physically aggressive. And I'm too cute to go to jail. So I said, okay, let me go see the psychiatrist. And I did. And I told her what was happening. And she gave me antidepressant. And I'm like, what is it with y'all and these antidepressants? I don't want this because all I could picture was me in my 50s with a glass of wine and some antidepressants. I didn't want to be that person, who constantly needed medication, constantly, I'm not against it, but I didn't want that for me. I wanted to see what the hell was wrong with me. So she told me to go see a therapist. And black people do not go see therapists. So I was like, I don't want to go see a therapist. That means something's wrong with me. Not that going to see a psychiatrist was something wrong, right? But I went and found a therapist, and it took me on my third therapist. So the first one did not work out. The second one ghosted me. It was my third. Yeah, everybody does their reaction when I say that. She did though. And my third therapist, she actually listened to me. She helped me, and she understood I didn't want no damn drugs. So after she, assessed me, we talked or whatever, I was diagnosed with severe anxiety and depression. And I told her, okay, well, why? Why am I going through this now? Like what's happening? So she had me talk about way back from my earliest memory of childhood up until the day that I, first had my symptoms of having a nervous breakdown. And she helped me with that with talk therapy, and she introduced me to journaling. Initially, journaling, I was like, and she said, okay, this part isn't going to work for you. Let's try guided journaling. Guided journaling basically is you are answering prompts. You have a specific prompt that you are answering the question, basically. And, when she put it to me that way and started giving me prompts to work on, I discovered I had been holding on to a lot of things that I didn't even know I was holding on to. Relationship issues, childhood traumas. Uh, I was a teen mom, never had that addressed. I had my first child when I was 14. So, back then I didn't know that was traumatic. That felt like normal to me. But no, that's not normal. And so a lot of bad life choices that I made that I never, addressed. I never held myself accountable for and never worked through them. And so once she taught me how to use guided journaling prompts to help me with that, I started feeling better within like 2 weeks of me using it. And so when I did, I was like, this can't be real. Me answering these questions is helping me feel better. And so, I progressed a few months and I was like, okay, all right, this working. I know there's somebody else out there who needs this. I know there's somebody else who feels the same way I do that don't want to be on, whatever they're giving out these days. I didn't want to be that person, and I'm sure somebody else didn't want to be that person too. So that's how Shawnti Refuge journals came about. I initially started with my guided journal, and I would tell the story behind each guided journal because each one is a different topic. Ranging from self-esteem to self-love, self-awareness, unpacking baggage, and I found a mentor and she told me to stop hiding behind my journals. She said, you need to tell your story. Somebody needs to hear your story. And I'm like, you expecting me to get up in front of a bunch of strangers and tell them how, this? And she was like, yes. So I started speaking. And from me speaking, people started asking me, do you coach? I'm like, no, I'm not no coach. I'm not coaching nobody. I'm not equipped to coach anybody. But apparently I am because I'm a coach now. So I actually use my method of helping other women to, get over whatever it is they need to get over with just with guided journaling. And I have had a 100% success rate. thus far since I started in 2021.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's why I was excited to have you on because you and I talked previously
Hmm.
and you shared your story and I just feel that you have so much guidance to offer people
Yeah,
that are in the same place. You know, we're living in a crazy world, crazy times right now.
yes, make it
And
worse by the
so
day.
yeah, and so we just every everyone needs healing. Everyone needs help. Now it might differ according to what area of your life that you need it,
Right.
but we all need it, especially as women, because we are the caretakers. We
Yes.
have the invisible workload, right?
Yes.
Where people just feel like they can just pile everything on our plates. And your coaching is definitely needed. Now, can you talk about what you were doing prior to your business today? What were you doing prior to what you're doing today?
I was working in at a mental health organization, but I was working in the information technology department. So I was the one who would, assign the wireless devices, so cell phones, iPads, um, hotspot devices. I was doing that, and I had been doing that for like 19 years.
Wow, that's a long time. So had you reached a point in that 19 years where you just said, okay, I can't do this anymore. There has to be another path for me.
Yeah, because I knew this wasn't my ministry. I knew that.
Yeah.
When I started in 2005 and I was an admin. And, before then, I had a 2 year limit at every job I had. It's okay, I'm only going to be here for 2 years and I'm leaving, 2 years and I'm leaving. But 2 years here turned into 19 because I was able to move into different departments. I was able to get my, bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and all 10 billion of my certifications that I have. I was able to get it. Wow, at that job. So, it they didn't want to let me go. So I'm kind of still around.
Well, I always say too that when people they view their current situation, their current job as if they're miserable in it, you got to flip that switch. You got to reframe it and view it
Exactly.
exactly what you did. You view it as your educational center. You view it as your profit center. You view it as an opportunity to get you where you really want to be.
Exactly, because I don't know any other job that will let you on the clock go to school and get your degree, go to classes again. And I was able to do all of that. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah. So would you say what you're doing today, are you transitioning into that full time, or would you say it's your side hustle that you're looking to turn into full time?
No, full time. I do it full time now, even with a full time job. I do this full time.
Awesome.
This takes
Awesome.
precedence over cell phones.
Yeah. Yes. 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 I hear you loud and clear. Yeah. Now, I know that you experienced journaling from your own personal experiences, but did you also take any additional classes or courses out there that helped you with your business today?
Absolutely. I got initially when I first started coaching, I wasn't certified. And people would ask me, "Are you certified?" And I'm like, "No." Thinking, I don't have to be certified. I'm teaching you off of lived experience.
Yeah.
So when people kept asking, I was like, okay, is that my cue to go get a certification? So I went and I got a certification in life coaching. I got a certification in mental health first aid. I got a certification in mental health coaching. So, and I'm about to get my master's certification. So I'm constantly in somebody's training, learning, getting that information so I can say I have lived experience and learned experience.
Yeah. I think that's really important that you're always trying to up level, not you specifically, but everyone. You're always trying to up level your skills. I know I just joined a mastermind group because I just want to keep up leveling my skill set.
And
Right.
that's perfect. That's what we're supposed to be doing. How
Mm-hmm.
can we can only go as far as our education. So if we are stopping thinking we know everything, we're limiting ourselves. So keep learning, keep jumping in those classes. to make
Yeah.
yourself better, not only for you, but for who the people you serve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you definitely hit it that we only know so much.
Exactly.
We only know so much. So then you have to turn to other people to learn from those individuals so you can share your knowledge. You
Yeah.
can share that additional knowledge out there.
Exactly.
So,
No gatekeeping. We have to learn so we can teach others.
right. And I feel that right now we're in feminine energy, feminine power right now. And that
Yes,
we are leading. We're stepping into that leadership and we're starting to lead things.
absolutely. As we have been doing, but now we're doing it unapologetically. Like, get out the way, we got it.
Yeah, yeah, right? That's so much fun. Uh, do you have any mentors in the field?
Absolutely. I have Dr. Monique Flemings. She helped me with my public speaking because I didn't think anything was wrong with the way I talk. I try to stay true to myself. I'm from Beaumont, Texas, so I have a country little twang, and I know I say incorrect grammar. I don't care. You understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
I try sometimes. It just depends on who my audience is. I've
Yeah.
learned how to read the room, and
Yes.
I've learned how to talk to them, the way that, they can understand me and feel that I'm relatable and not just somebody looking down on them. No, I never want to come off that way. So I'm always going to say something funny or curse a little bit or whatever.
Well, you have a very powerful presence. If you walked in a room, I would listen to whatever you were saying.
Thank
And
you.
and you have to be authentic to who you are because
Yeah,
I don't believe in let's make everybody the same because that's boring.
yeah, we're not
That's
all the same.
boring.
Yeah, that's boring. And who's gonna, trust you if you're acting like this person, this person, this person? No, you got to be yourself.
Yeah, you got to be yourself because otherwise it becomes very inauthentic and people can read that very quickly.
And
Like, oh,
that's
yeah,
one thing I don't want to be called is fake because I'm not.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I love that. What does a day in the life look like for you when you're in your new business, your full-time business? What does that look like for you? A day in the life?
Ooh, a day. Well, let's see. Well, yesterday was my off day. Mondays are my off day. So I don't do anything with anybody on Mondays. 9 to 5 or coaching. But like today, I got up, I say my affirmations, my prayers, I write in my gratitude journal, and, I set my intention for the day of how I want my day to go. And today I did not have coaching. My coaching days are on Wednesdays. So I'm prepping for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm doing introduction of mental health. So I have to get that together. I'm starting a podcast. So I'm doing more information on that, trying to see, the sequence of how I want that to go. Today I am after we're done today, I'm going home and getting a sauna. And that's about it.
That sounds like a great day. That sounds fabulous. Now, when you're working with your clients one-on-one, so it's through guided journaling, how does that look? If let's say I were your client, how would that look with you and I working together?
Well, if we are working one on one, I have to assess what it is you're wanting to work on. I only do one topic at a time. So even if you have low self esteem and your boyfriend broke up with you and your kids hate you, we're only dealing with one thing at a time. Because I have learned that one issue at a time is, you can't juggle all that and try to heal from all that at once. So I have a client right now who is working on boundaries. And she specifically says she wants to work on her boundaries because that's her issue. And it's boundaries with mom, boundaries with children, boundaries with her ex. So we established the boundaries. She has to tell me what boundaries is it that she wants to set. Why is it so hard for her to set them? And we answer those questions, and we set up a plan of action. Okay, well, these are the boundaries you're gonna have to do with mom. These are the boundaries with kids and the ex. And for the journaling part, that's the part I send home with homework. So I'll send maybe 3 or 4 prompts home with them. And she's going to come back to me next Wednesday with the answer to those prompts. And if she doesn't answer, we're not having a coaching. You have to do the homework.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, right. I mean, if you're committed to growing
Mhm.
and evolving as a person, then you have to do the homework. You have to take
Yeah.
those steps in
And
order.
and the guided journaling part, like her question is, for her to identify her role and not having boundaries set already. She has to take accountability because, I mean, ultimately she plays a part in not having boundaries set between these 3 people. And that's probably one of the hardest questions that I get from clients. They don't want to answer that because they don't want to hold themselves accountable. But that's like one of the main things you're going to have to do if you want to work with me. And like I said, if you don't do your homework, don't set no appointment for the next week.
Yeah.
Or I would cancel it because you're wasting my time and you're wasting yours.
Yeah. Yeah. So really your job is you're holding people accountable.
Absolutely. I'm your accountability partner. I'm your cheerleader. We're not going to cry. No, you got 24 hours to cry and then snap out of it and let's work. We're going to work past this because all the things that you were doing prior obviously wasn't working. Otherwise, you wouldn't have came to me. So I'm here. I'm that reality check. All right, you cried. Let's get it. You understand what the problem is. Let's move. Let's move. Not to have a person stay stuck in their situation. It's all about moving them away from that so they can do what they really want to do and not feel bad about telling mom no or telling kids, y'all grown, leave me alone, or telling the ex, you're an ex for a reason, leave the hell alone, things like that.
Yeah.
I find that it's really hard for a lot of women to say no. And, and it used to be me. I used to have a hard time saying no. Like, I used to, especially to my mom, I would never tell my mom no. Because you always say, that's your mom, but that's your mom. I don't care now. The first time I said no to her, I cried afterwards, not in front of her. But now I'm more than happy to say no. No.
Well, we all need to have boundaries in life.
We do.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to assess, like, is this really going to fit into my life today? If I say yes, right?
Exactly. You have to identify how that yes is going to serve you.
Mm-hmm.
Because people will run over you if you let them.
Yes.
Especially family.
Yes.
Because they'll try to manipulate you and guilt trip you. And no.
There's a saying that Oprah would say is that she would say on her show, you teach people how to treat you.
Yes.
I don't know if that came from her or if that was Dr. Phil was on her show and he said that. And
none of them, but it's true.
Yeah. It's
true.
You do. You teach people how to treat you.
And you don't understand that until you are actually going through it.
Right. Yeah. Now, if you were to give advice to someone who is looking to become a life coach, what advice would you give them?
Do it. Do it scared. Do it afraid. Your friends and your family are not going to support you. So get that out of your head from the beginning. They might say congratulations or whatever, but and your friends and family are not your clients. You have to put yourself out there to strangers in the world and let them know who you are. You have to show up confidently every time. Not saying that you know everything, because who knows everything? We don't know everything. But if you are, have your niche down, Lord, niche down. Don't say you're everyone's coach because you're not. You have to niche down, get your niche, and stand on it and be confident and get your people. Your people will come to you. And it's not overnight. It is not overnight.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not. And I don't care. You see all these, right? You see all these, Shawnti, you see all these posts on Instagram and Facebook about how they started a business and then it happened overnight. I made 6 figures overnight. So
they lie.
But it's just, it's not true, people.
No, it is a lie.
You and I are here to tell people when they listen to this podcast that that's not true. It doesn't happen. You have to put in the hard work, and it takes time. It's a runway. It's a long runway, but you just keep building and building and building.
Yeah. And you do not quit. You don't give up. You could take a pause, but do not
Mm-hmm.
stop. You keep going. Whether
Right.
you're posting or putting yourself out there once a day, do it once a day, every other day, at least twice or three times a week, but don't stop. Because the
Right.
minute you stop, you're going to lose your audience's trust. They're not going to trust you because you're not consistent. You have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to put out there what it is you want to receive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And now looking back on your journey to where you are today and building your business,
Mhm.
is there anything you would have done differently?
I would say no, because everything that happened for a reason. Even though at the time I didn't understand why I was going berserk and acting nuts, and being an avoider and a people pleaser, and all these other things that led to my nervous breakdown. I'm glad I went through it because now I know better, and I had to learn my lesson, and I did. And now, my purpose is to help other women so they don't have a nervous breakdown. My thing is to catch you before that time comes, get you right before you get ready to jump off that nervous breakdown bridge. I don't want you to go there because it's not fun. It is not. You
Yeah.
literally think you are losing your mind, literally. And it's not a fun experience. So I'm glad I went through everything I went through. So that if I could save at least one person a day from going that route, then I have done my job.
Good answer. I love that answer. Good answer. And are there any marketing tips that you can share with? Because I have a lot of independent contractors, entrepreneurs, people who are looking to start a business, listening to the podcast, and everybody's always looking for different marketing techniques or tips of the trade of how they can promote themselves. Do you have anything to share?
Absolutely. Go live. Nobody says you have to go live every day, but go live. Even if nobody shows up on that live, you talk like there's a million people watching you. Go live. Network with other businesses. Get on somebody's podcast so you can introduce yourself to their audience. And you can go to Eventbrite and do a search of the area you want to work in and see who's having events. Go to those events. A lot of them are free, especially for a business starting from the ground up with no money, no rich uncles. Go to Eventbrite and go find a free event, and you go show up as a an audience member, as a peer, and introduce yourself, talk, chat, get to know people. That's how you do it.
Those are some really good ideas. I like those ideas, especially the Eventbrite one. I hadn't heard about that. So,
Yeah, go to Eventbrite.
and yeah, I go to Eventbrite events, but just if a friend's having it or something of that nature. But that's a really great idea, just to go and look at what's happening. Go on the calendar, look at what's happening in your city, and go to a few events a month.
Yeah, or if you want to, if you want to participate, contact the organizer. Say, hey, I'm set to introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, what you're doing. Ask if there are any openings to participate in the event. A lot of them say yes, and there's no charge to do so. But you never know unless you ask. You got to put
Yeah,
yourself out there, and you have to ask.
that's great. I love that. Now, I want to shift actually and just talking about your business specifically and what you're doing. So, I know we touched on life coaching, but just walk us through some of the different services that you offer.
Well, I have a line of guided journals. Each of them has a different topic for whatever topic the person wants to work on. So that can be found at ShawntiRefugeJournals.com. And that I recommend if you want to use it by yourself, or you can use it in conjunction with coaching or therapy. If you have a therapist and they don't tell you to journal, get you another therapist. Every therapist should be telling their clients to journal. And it didn't have to be mine. It could be a notebook, pen, but So, and then I'm a keynote speaker, so I speak. I speak on topics about mental health. I speak about teen pregnancy. I talk to little children at school, and tell them save your body, save yourself. That boy don't love you. Things like that. That I wish somebody would have told me back in the eighth grade. And No. I talk about child abuse. I talk about domestic violence. You name it, I talk about it. Like if somebody contacts me, hey, can you talk about this? And if it's something I'm familiar with, then I'll say yes, and if not, then I'll say no. I speak on panels. I was just on a panel last weekend, a mental health panel for women, and that was great. And I also was able to set up a table, introduce myself as an author and, showcase my memoir, which is called Quiet as Kept, and among some other things that I had, my journals. And now I'm about to do a master class in May for mental health. So it's a 5 week class, and we're going to go from mental health 101 down to get rid of those folks in your life who aren't serving you. So I do a lot of things. I'm practically a yes person. I do support every Wednesday with Sharewell. Have you ever heard of Sharewell?
Mm-hmm. I have.
Yep, Sharewell. Now I am a group facilitator. I do the midweek release every Wednesday. So, and you can come in there and get some support.
Wow, you're not busy.
No, not at all.
No, but you know what? You're living your best life, and you're working through your passions, right? So it's your God-given passions.
It is. It is.
And
I'm very proud of it.
And you should be very proud. And there are just so many people in life that we get lost and we don't know what those God-given passions are. And
they used to be me.
It's amazing you found them, and I'm sure you are grateful and thankful every day that you found them. And it's so easy to tap into it that we get in our own way, right?
Yes. We do. We get into our own way. We self-sabotage. And sometimes we know we're doing it and sometimes we don't know. But
yeah.
You have to be mindful. It's about being mindful.
Yeah. Now, where can people find you?
Well, I could be found anywhere. I am on Instagram. I'm Shawnti Refuge Journals. I'm Shawnti Refuge Journals on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn as Shawnti Refuge. So I'm pretty much everywhere. You put my name in Shawnti Refuge, you'll find me.
Okay. Well, I'll have all that information in the show notes when I launch this episode. And my last question for you is, do you have a favorite book that you're reading now, or maybe it's one of all time that you can share with the listeners?
I am reading Viola Davis' Finding Me. I am currently reading it. And I know that book came out, I don't know how long ago, but something drew me to it recently. And I try to read a new book every month. So this is my book that I'm reading. And by the second chapter, she had me laughing, crying, and mad. So I love it. So far, I am loving it.
And I think that came out a couple years ago, right?
It probably did.
Okay.
And I kept saying, I'm going to read it. But this time it's like, bam, read it. So I got in and started reading.
Well, I asked that question because I love to read as well. And I don't buy books. I just check them out at the library because it's just who I am. So then I'm not buying them all the time. But I'm going to put that one on my list because I have seen it. I'm going to put that on
so far, so great.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for all the information that you shared today. I really appreciate you. And I've just really enjoyed having you on the podcast. So I'm sure all my listeners are going to enjoy this as well. And everything that you shared today, I will put in the show notes so everyone can have your website, your social media handles, everything that you shared today.
Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, Shawnti's energy is so uplifting and vibrant. I hope you really enjoyed the episode today. I know I enjoyed my time with Shawnti, and I will include all of her information in the show notes if you want to reach out to her to learn more about what she does. And Also, I did share with you that the marketing tip regarding Eventbrite, now that's a winner. I'm going to incorporate that into my business moving forward. What a great tip on networking, right? So if you have any questions, if you have any feedback for me, you know where to find me, sandy@thewellaligned.com, and on all of my social media handles, which I also have in the show notes. Thank you.